Hello, my name is Keith Haswell. I'm a professional astrologer with 38 years experience in the business and 25,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you to my website and to my teachings. Now, you've come to my website in order to get your horoscope done, and you are to be congratulated for being a believer in astrology, because science tells us that the planets can have no impact upon us, that astrology is a load of hogwash. And what they're not taking into consideration and what their instruments can't measure is the emotional level of energy and the emotional level of consciousness, and also the mental level of energy and the mental level of consciousness. So the religions of the world are all telling us that astrology is evil and the work of the devil and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of people in the world, the vast majority, who are atheistic in their thinking, or religious in their thinking, or scientific in their thinking, and therefore don't relate to astrology. But you're relating to astrology, and you are to be congratulated. Now, astrology works because these planets are living energy forms, and they are emitting ray energies into your reality and into your consciousness. Now, these planets are having impact upon you, and impacting upon you in three main areas of your life. The three main areas that you're concerned about is your sense of security, and that comes through financial security, but also emotional and mental security, that you're not under threat from within and also from outside of yourself. And then there's the area of relationships. You want somebody to love, and you want somebody who will love you in return. And this is a major area of your life, because without relationships, whether it's relationships with people that you work with, relationships with relatives and neighbours, relationships with friends, relationships with children, relationships with loved ones, relationships with partners and spouse, relationships with business associates and so forth. These are all relationships, and your relationships are where you have an opportunity to communicate and to express your love, and also to receive love, and with the intimates in your life to be known and to be understood. These are all basic urges. And then the other one, the third one, is to do with the job. Meaningful work is a very, very important part of our sense of self-esteem and value fulfillment. Now, these planets are implementing cosmic law. They are implementing the will of the divine, what you might say. God and Goddess have got certain plans for you, and those plans are wonderful to help you to become more of who you really are through a multiplicity of lifetimes that you experience here in a space-time rule set that we know as Earth. So it's very, very exciting when you start getting into astrology more deeply, on the aspects of the spiritual side of it, and the science of meditation and reincarnation. I've written 2 books on these subjects that I'm happy to share with you in printed format, sent to you by email, or audio format with my voice and backing mystical music to take you in and out of meditation time and time again, to help you to become more of who you really are. But what we're focusing on here is your horoscope, and what I'm going to be looking at is those 3 areas of your life: your security, your relationships, and your work and employment and business and career, meaningful work. Okay, so what we have is we've got the 12 houses of the horoscope are segments of your life. And the events and conditions of your life are fitted into these 12 different categories. So you've got the first house of self-initiated efforts, you've got the second house of security and finances, the third house of communication with those close to you like relatives and neighbours, the fourth house of the home environment and the family and those who share the home environment with you, and the fifth is the segment of children and entertainments and amusements, sports, and also the sexual side of life and romance before love, romance before marriage, romance before you get serious and so forth. Then there's the sixth segment, which is health and diet, and the way to keep yourself healthy is through meaningful employment, and that fits into that category as well, the job. Then there's the seventh area, which is to do with partnerships and spouse and those who are your close intimates. And then there is the eighth house of transformation and change within yourself and the area of death. Ninth house is higher education and travel and expansion of your consciousness through religious and philosophical studies and so forth, metaphysical studies. 10th house is ambitions and high achievements and career. 11th house is to do with friends and group social activities, other people's children. And the 12th house is the house of hospitals and institutions where you can have solitude and get it all together, introspect and reflect upon what you've learnt from the other 11 houses. So it's all very complex, but it's all also down to earth where you're living and where you're experiencing your life. Now, these planets that I'm going to be working on for you in this reading are Saturn, and that takes 2.5 years in its movement through the zodiac. As it passes through the houses of your horoscope, it takes 2.5 years in one house. And Saturn is implementing the law of economy. In other words, Saturn is going to be saying to you that there must be a usage of energy, emotional, physical and mental energy, must be used wisely and economically. Any misuse of that energy must bring a corresponding adjustment to your consciousness and awareness of that misuse. And so Saturn embodies that third ray of commerce and industry and business, and also practicality and the law of economy and the wise use of energy. And so as it sits in an area of your horoscope, it's going to have a different impact than what it will with somebody with another sign, with a different sign than you. It's in a different house of their horoscope than it is with you. And so you're going to be experiencing that for 2.5 years. Errors that you've made in the usage of energy over the last 26 years are going to come home to roost. And you're going to be able to learn during that time about using energy wisely and economically and practically, and planning your things out practically and so forth. This includes mental energy and emotional energy as well. So I'll be looking at Saturn for you and telling you what the impact of that is shortly, and I'll tell you a little bit about yourself as well. And then there's Jupiter. Jupiter embodies the second ray of love wisdom, and it is a beautiful planet in desiring to expand and to expand your consciousness and awareness to become more of who you really are. And it does this through love, it does this through relationships, and it does this through study, research and investigation, and it does this through education, and it does this through higher thinking and learning about God and Goddess's plans for all of us. And so Jupiter takes 12 months as it moves through a particular house of your horoscope. So it sits in a house for 12 months. So I'm going to be able to tell you what is Jupiter, what is the impact of Jupiter during 2014, and what you are experiencing now prior to moving into 2014 in your life through the impact of Jupiter. So it's sitting in one of your houses of your horoscope now, and I'll tell you what the impact is now, and also 2014 it's in a different house than what it is now. So I'll be able to tell you all about that, and how you can expand and grow and reach and stretch to become more of the giant that you truly are. And then there's Mars. Mars brings energy and will and sexual energy quite often into the area of your life where it's sitting, and it can bring conflict and tension and stress and anxiety and so forth. And I'm going to be looking at the movement of Mars in the first 6 months of 2014. It's sitting stationary in one particular house of your horoscope and introducing a lot of stresses and tensions into that area of your life. And so therefore you've got to deal with that. So this is what I'm going to be working on in your personal horoscope, which I'm going to be looking at shortly. And it's nice to have you here to be able to talk with you and to share with you some of my understanding about these things. And I do this for you free of charge because I want to be of service. I've seen the impact and the benefit that thousands of people have had through going through my intensives or getting extracts out of my books and so forth, and having astrology readings done by me. And so I want to help you to also grow and reach and stretch to become more of who you really are. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in your horoscope for you now. What I want to do for you now, Aquarius, is to tell you a few things about yourself and the way that you interact with the people in your life and the events and conditions in your life. And I want you to bear in mind that this is a lifetime situation that I'm looking at, and that some of these things therefore can be for the past, Aquarius, and some can be for the future and therefore difficult to relate to. The things from the past perhaps are not relevant in your life anymore. And I'm only taking into consideration the location of your sun in the sign Aquarius, and so therefore it's a limited perspective. I can do a lot more for you with horoscope number 2. Horoscope number 2, I look at the location of all of your planets individually in their placement, by sign and by house and by aspect and relationship with each other, and that's a very individual thing pertaining to you and you alone. And so therefore I can do a lot more for you with horoscope number 2. But anyway, this is just sufficient to give you a bit of an insight into the way that astrology works. And then I'm going to be looking at the movement of Saturn in your horoscope, Aquarius, and what sort of impact that's having in 2013 and 2014 for you. Then I'll look at the movement of Jupiter and see what's going on with Jupiter in 2013 and 2014 for you, and also Mars. So just sit back and relax now, Aquarius. Now, you're a very futuristic type of person. You're very eccentric and very intuitive, and you pride yourself on feeling different and being different from everybody else. You're strongly attracted towards things like astrology and meditation, reincarnation. You've got a scientific type of a mind, and you enjoy things that are a little bit out of the ordinary and unusual. So anything that's out of the ordinary and unusual is appealing to you, and anything that's on the crest of the wave of inventions and developments in the human consciousness is naturally appealing to you. You'll face a few crises in life, there's no two ways about that, because you do jump from one interest to another quite readily, and you seem to enjoy quite a lot of solitude as well. Now, you do worry about money, and you don't have very good administrative abilities as far as your finances are concerned, and there's a lot of strange circumstances. Sometimes you can be a little bit careless about money and about financial matters generally. You can just allow yourself to float along and just take each day as it comes and so forth. And you do tend to be a little bit dominant when it comes to the communication side of things. You drive a bit too fast, and you can be a bit aggressive in speech. There's a few conflicts therefore with those that are close to you in your immediate environment, like relatives and neighbours and so forth. So you can be a little bit assertive and put your point across in quite a dominant fashion quite often, Aquarius. You would have perhaps a scar on the hand or the arm from a cut, burn or a scald, and you could be driving too fast and end up having an accident on the road at some time in your life. Try and relax a lot more, and try not to communicate on impulse, and don't rush into signing contracts and agreements based on impulse as well. You could have a relative or a neighbour who wears a uniform, dust coat or overalls in their job, and there may be the early death by accident of a relative or a neighbour. Now, you do love the home, and you like to have nice rich furnishings around the home and nice interior decorations. You love beautiful things around the place. And as far as the family is concerned, family unity is important to you, and those who cohabitate with you in the home, that's an important part of your sense of security. So you like to have nice paintings and artistic works and statuettes and knickknacks and things like that around the home. As far as relationships and romance and love is concerned, you've jumped into a few hasty relationships from time to time and got your fingers burnt perhaps. And you could have two relationships going at the one time, so there's quite a lot of potential there for duality in your nature in regard to romance and love. You don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, and you can have two romances going at the same time, and it's possible that there's a lot of changing views when it comes to your interests as far as recreation, entertainments and amusements and that sort of thing. You certainly like driving as a form of recreation and entertainment and amusement, and listening to music in the car. You could work from home at some time in life. You have domestic pets around the home quite feasibly, and you do bring work home to do at home. So you could deal with real estate. You could find that your job takes you near to the water somehow, and you seem to be quite a good cook. You're a person who likes to look after yourself with regard to diet and exercise. You can be a little bit overweight, perhaps. You do like rich food. Now, as far as your spouse and those who are close intimates in your life, your partner, spouse, you would perhaps be attracted towards somebody who is quite attractive and very good looking person. And there can be quite a lot of social activities out there amongst the general public. You like going out to restaurants and places of amusement and things like that where you can mix with the general public. Now that'll do as far as an analysis of your personality and the way that you interact with the events and conditions in your life and so forth, Aquarius. You're quite, even in appearance, perhaps quite unique. You may be very tall or very short, or there's something there that makes you stand out as being very unique and different. Now, looking at Saturn in your horoscope, Aquarius, you've got Saturn in the 10th house of your horoscope in 2013 and 2014. So those 2 years can be a time of frustration in dealings in the career. It's not a time for making changes in your career. It's a frustrating time for you in dealings with government departments potentially, and also dealings with parents can bring some worry and fear and anxiety and concern for you. There could be the lingering illness of someone that you work with, could be the lingering illness or death of a parent in 2013, 2014. There's potential there for frustrations in regard to not being able to get ahead as fast as what you would like to. You may be forced to take on quite a lot of extra responsibility in the career without feeling as if you're getting the recognition for that in regard to career objectives. And dealings with government departments can bring a lot of frustrations into your life during 2013 and 2014, and you just feel restrained, as if you're not able to realise your ambitions as rapidly as what you would like to, and feel that you're worthy of. Now, as far as Jupiter is concerned, Aquarius, Jupiter is in the 5th house of your horoscope in 2013, which means that it's a very good year for you to do with love, romance and relationships. There could be a significant romantic attachment sprung up or started or commenced or improved in 2013. It's a lucky year for you in terms of gambling and luck. It's very, very favourable for you to do with any children. It's a good time for you to do with love, relationships, children, social activities, speculation, gambling, and it's a very, very happy time for you to do with children. You could travel overseas in 2013 with children, if there's any children in your life. It's possible that you could travel with a romantic counterpart and have a good time generally as far as the social side of life is concerned in 2013. So it looks like it's a good year for you in terms of getting involved and starting relationships and friendships and attachments, and getting out and about to restaurants and places of amusement and really enjoying yourself. Now, 2014, Jupiter moves into the 6th house of your horoscope, Aquarius, and that's going to mean that 2014 is a very good year for you to do with a change in your job. And this is the job side of things more so, the employment side of things more so than career or high achievements in business or anything like that. You've already been told about that factor with Saturn there in your in your 10th house, it's a restraining sort of an influence there as far as your career and your ambitions are concerned. But as far as employment is concerned, certainly it's a good time for you to make a change in your job. It's a good time for you socially connected with the job, and there can be romantic attachments spring from the job and your connections with the job. It's a good time socially with people that you work with. It's also very favourable for you, Aquarius, to do with improving your health, any sort of medical matters that you had to get done, like surgical procedures or anything like that. That's a very good time for you, 2014, to get that sort of thing done, and effectively and beneficially. It's favourable through domestic pets, and generally good for you on a social level with people that you work with. So 2014 is a good year for you to do with changes in your job, social activities with people that you work with. Now, to do with Mars, Aquarius, Mars is in the 9th house of your horoscope for the first 6 months of 2014. Now, Mars usually, Aquarius, only takes 6 weeks to go through a particular house of your horoscope, but it's stationary in the 9th house of your horoscope for the first 6 months of 2014. Now, with Mars being stationary in the 9th house of your horoscope, it's going to mean that you will have potential for conflicts with in-laws, conflicts with people about religious and spiritual matters. It can bring court cases and problems with legal matters in the first 6 months of 2014. And it's not a good time for you for travel. There can be accidents whilst travelling. You can travel on impulse, and you can have conflicts and arguments with people about religious and spiritual differences. So that gives you a little bit of a rundown on some of the events and conditions that you can expect, Aquarius, in 2013 and 2014. But just hang around now, because there's a few other things that I want to say to you about where to go from here. Well, now that I've gone through all of that area of your houses where the planets have been sitting and everything, where to go from here? Just a little bit of an epilogue here to help you to understand how you can go on with the job now that you've been exposed to this type of understanding and expanded your understanding a little bit further. I want to help you to become more of who you really are, and to take full advantage of the science of astrology and the science of meditation. Meditation is a wonderful science, and by practicing meditation you can keep yourself youthful, and you can program to all the events of your life to occur more in accordance and compliance with your will, your conscious choice, more so than your subconscious will or your subconscious choice. And these events happen in your life most of the time by subconscious choices, according to your attitudes and beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings and your decisions and your choices. They're your raw materials, and you bring those raw materials into events and conditions in your life through your desire, your imagination and your expectation. Well, I want to help you to clean out those emotions and to clarify your thinking so that your beliefs and your attitudes are not your enemies and not creating negativities in your life. So therefore, I'm going to be sending you some printed pages of my out of my book, What Really Matters, which covers the science of meditation and reincarnation and astrology, and in simple terms that you'll be able to relate to. And you can read them if you wish, and you can then also become more of who you really are by getting the audio version of my book and listening to that and over and over again, getting that sort of knowledge and understanding into yourself. And I'm happy to do a lot of work for you also by doing your horoscope number 2. If you're keen to learn, I'm happy to do your horoscope number 2, which is normally $20. I'm happy to do that for you free of charge. So I'm happy to help you and encourage you to expand your consciousness. My material will lead you into deeper understanding about yourself and about how you can become more of who you really are, and how you can create your reality more in accordance and compliance with your conscious choice and your conscious will, and become more financially independent, more successful in your work, happier in relationships, and so on and so forth. So I thank you for your attentiveness here, and I look forward to working further with you should you desire to go on into my teachings and become more of the giant that you truly are. God and Goddess love you and know your name, and they want you to become more of who you really are. Thank you.